What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Bleed Lows podcast. The WBC has been living up to all the hype. Anthony is going to fill us in on his Houston experience and have the Dodgers struck gold on their new utility man. All that and more coming up next. Welcome back and thank you for joining us. Anthony and I are your co-hosts tonight and producer Roger's behind the scenes. We want to tell you about DodgersBeat.com. Stay up to date and in the know with all of the latest and most comprehensive coverage of the LA Dodgers. It is your one stop for articles, interviews, contests, merch, and more. Never miss a beat and check out DodgersBeat.com. All right, Anthony, you are back in LA. You lived the dream this past weekend. Tell us everything.
Yeah, I'm back. I've been in LA for, I think, 2 hours. It doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's probably been more, a little bit tired. It's been a long day, but it's been a very fulfilling weekend. Everything I had planned going into the WBC kind of far exceeded expectations. City of Houston was awesome. The environment was awesome. It's probably something I've never experienced at a baseball game. I've been to playoff games. I've been to regular season games. I even went to a few road games. It was just a completely different feel. You had fans that were Yankee fans and Red Sox fans all cheering for the same team, the Team USA. Then and vice versa. You had me, a Dodger fan who was rooting for Alejandro Kirk yesterday, who was in Atlanta, or not Atlanta. He's a Toronto Blue Jay player. It's weird. It's such a weird thing, but it's kind of cool to see everyone kind of united under one flag, whether it's the United States, whether it's Italy, whether it's Mexico, and all the teams that were playing in Houston, respectively, Brazil as well, Great Britain. It's kind of it was a very fun environment. It's going to be hard to describe it because it's just like it was a wonderful atmosphere. It was a wonderful weekend. A lot of great things, and like the videos and pictures I took don't really do it justice because like you kind of had to be there to experience it.
Oh my God, I want to hear everything. I mean, you got there on Friday, right? And your first game was, I guess, the Logan Webb game, correct? Where the
Yeah.
U.S. played Brazil. So kind of just start at the top. What was the crowd like? What was the energy like? And just kind of your impressions of, getting to see Team USA start off, your trip for the WBC.
So for us, I went in a group of four. So the vibes for us were kind of low because it was travel day. So we just got into the airport, had been at the Airbnb we stayed at for maybe an hour or two, and then we had to make our way out to the stadium. So it was kind of low energy, at least from us, because it was travel day. But like the stadium, once we got there, was very raucous. It wasn't sold out. The very top level was empty, but I think that's due to the opponent, Brazil, not really a big name when it comes to baseball, and they kind of proved it on the field as well too. A lot of work to be done for their organization and stuff going forward, but vibes were high. It helped that Aaron Judge had that two-run tank that kind of like set the tone. The energy got flowing, and then there was this kid that we didn't know who he was, but thankfully, like the research and stuff we did later after the game is like Lucas Ramirez, and we just kind of made a nothing of it. He takes Logan Webb deep, and we're like, man, that's like he just took a pretty good pitcher deep, and then he proceeds to hit a second home run in that game, and we're like, who the hell is this kid? And then only to find out a few like innings later, like, oh, that's actually Manny Ramirez's kid. So that's one of those moments where like, you're getting old when you see a player that you saw your entire childhood. Now you're watching his son play, and he has Manny's mannerisms to a T. The way he's on the field, the way he bats. I mean, he looks like Manny now because I've seen his picture throughout like the past couple of days. I'm like, damn, that really is Manny's kid. So I came back impressed by him. And then the 17-year-old kid, Joseph Contreras, he kind of was put in like the ultimate impossible position. He had to face that death lineup of the U.S. And he went out there, only gave up one run, and he gave up a big double play ball to Aaron Judge there to kind of escape a bases loaded jam early. So it was kind of like a weird, like, what am I watching right now? I'm watching like a 17-year-old kid who's in high school. You had to get permission in order to participate in this tournament, go out there and face probably the best hitter on the planet, Aaron Judge, and force him to ground out. It's such a weird tournament. But in that moment, I was like, wow, that's like pretty impressive. So I kind of came about after that game. Like, I know the US were going to win, but I found like little players in Brazil's side were like Manny's kid. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be following Manny's kid's journey, Lucas Ramirez's journey. I think he's with the Angels right now. And I'm going to be following Joseph Contreras because I feel like he might have made a name for himself, kind of like eliminating that death lane and kind of limiting the damage to just one run.
I mean, this is the thing that imagine just being in high school and you go up against Aaron Judge in the WBC And then you got to go back and do your algebra 2 homework, in the hotel that night. I can't even imagine what that's like. But it was so cool seeing those storylines that you normally don't get to see because we follow so closely, the Dodgers all year. But this is kind of letting us get a little glimpse of players and teams and just, experiences that we don't get to see, hardly at all. So I was just kind of trying to live through you and your texts and kind of see like what you're experiencing. I mean, it looks so hype on television. Is it like that when you're in the environments? It's like you just feel a different energy.
Yeah, yesterday's game between the Mexico and the U.S., that atmosphere, I think far surpasses any playoff game I've ever been to. I haven't been to a World Series game, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that. Hopefully in the future. But it was from beginning to end, even before we even got to the stadium. Just what I love about the stadium, it's like right dead center in the city. So you have fans kind of just lingering around in bars or restaurants, kind of like, so the atmosphere is kind of just building up, building up, building up because people are playing music, there's people dancing, there's people celebrating, all sorts of stuff. It's going to be hard to describe, but that's kind of the energy you have. And then once you go in, it kind of picks up more because they have that fan zone. Then you have people inside, and the stadium is super small. It's very intimate. What I thought I was going to expect was going to be something like, oh, maybe like we'll kind of get hyped up, but once the game starts, like we'll kind of like mellow in and stuff like that. But no, like the energy was ratcheted up from like the minute we stepped in to the minute the game started to the very minute the game ended, basically. And even afterwards, there was still like people partying and stuff like that in the streets. And what I love was that even though I think it's considered a rivalry game, even though we only play 3 times or once every 3 years of this tournament. We'll see what happens here in the Olympics, if they'll do allow MLB players to participate or not. But it didn't really feel like a rivalry game because it felt like everyone was kind of rooting just for their own favorite team. And I've been to rivalry games before, and there's a bunch of like fights and a lot of things are being said and stuff like that. But the whole time I was there, I didn't see a single fight. Nothing was happening. And like again, it's weird seeing um, fans of like Mexico who are rooting for players on the U.S. as well too, because those are their guys they watch on their respective teams, whether they play on the Red Sox, whether they play the Yankees, Dodgers, etc., etc. And it's weird seeing teams of all major league, like from everywhere, basically fans from all those teams, all come united underneath one flag. What stuck out to me was this Yankee fan. He's like, he said it out loud. It's like, I can't believe I'm rooting for Roman Anthony right now, and I'm rooting for what's it called, for Jaron Duran. He's like, it's such a weird like feeling because they kind of, you're built up in being like, I'm rooting for his team. My team is the Dodgers. I'm going to root for them, root for them, root for them. And then you get to a tournament like this, and you're like, well, I represent the United States. I represent Mexico or the other countries that are involved in this tournament.
Mm,
And now a guy that you hate during the regular season is playing underneath the same flag you're representing. You're like, well, I'm not going to boo him. I got to like cheer
right.
him on and kind of like hope he does well. And it's like, there's a lot of people that were fighting that kind of dilemma in the stadium, which is funny because this happens during the World Cup in soccer too. You'll have players from different teams, and you'll be like, I don't really like that team, but now he's playing for your country, and like, I really like that guy. I like the way he plays. I like the tenacity he brings to the team. I like the leadership he has. And then once the tournament is over, it's like, I hate that guy again. Basically, like, it's a very funny dilemma to see people kind of like fight with.
That's how I'm going to be like when we go back to like, solely Dodger season. But right now, I'm kind of more open to cheering for people that are on teams that are not playing the USA or Mexico, which are the teams that I'm, really hoping, go far in this. Right now, baseball is baseballing. As we're filming this, we're looking at, I guess, the Italy playing the US. And I'm afraid to look at the scores. It's still 5-0 in favor of Italy, Anthony.
Actually, let me double check.
Because what I am watching, I'm watching as many WBC games as I can. And I find myself, I know producer Roger won't like that I said this, but he knows how I feel right now. I don't like Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm going to be very clear. They're not my favorite players, but I know they're talented. And when I'm watching the Dominican Republic play these insane games, I find myself rooting for them. I'm on my feet. I'm actually happy for them, seeing how much passion they have for the Dominican Republic. Now, at the end, I'm not going for them to win it all, but it's so amazing to be able to kind of step outside my Dodger fandom for a little bit and root for them. You also said that you had Astros players or Astros fans that were in the stadium. You said they were cool, which
Yeah,
is
they were very cool because we had a few buddies who brought their Dodger gear. I didn't bring any Dodger gear. I brought gear and bought gear respectively for both the U.S. and Mexico, and like everyone was kind of united under the flag they represented. Whether that day we went to was watching the U.S., they were all united in that one cause. Like, yeah, there was conversations here and there and like some fun chirping, but they never got past that because we were all focused on the games, and there was so much action happening in it that it really couldn't leave you like a chance to kind of like take a break in between and like talk in between innings because you were kind of like brought into the action. You're looking up like, all right, who's next? You got Anthony, you got I don't know, Schwarber, and you got someone else next. Let's see if they can mount a rally here and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun going back and forth. I actually liked the stadium. The stadium, it's what I hate from Dodger Stadium. It's uphill, and I feel like if it was like dead center, right smack in the middle of like downtown Los Angeles, I feel like you would have a better environment because you're kind of just forced to go up there, and then you're stuck in hell trying to get out of the parking lot, and then you're shot back out to the city. And I think Dodger fans kind of go their own separate ways. They don't kind of spew right into the city. They found there's a bunch of different places you can go right after a game. You don't necessarily have to stay in downtown. So I feel like if the stadium was somewhere downtown, I feel like that environment would be very like active and very like popping. It'd be a lot of bars and stuff like that. Now, I say this as a Dodger fan. I think we might have a little bit too much of a fun time before the game starts, which might cause an issue when we go back up into the stadium. But overall, I really have zero complaint. The only complaint I really have is the weather for Friday and Saturday sucked. It was a thunderstorm, I believe, Friday night, and then it was really letting down on Saturday night. So it really kind of put a hamper in our late night plans. But other than that, I had a really great time. I would recommend going to this ballpark if you're looking to maybe in the future the Dodgers go out to Houston. I don't know if they do this year or not. I don't want to give out wrong information if they do or not, but it's a very, very convenient ballpark, very easy to like handle parking as well too. Like I thought being like in the middle of the city, I was like, oh, like we might be stuck here for like hours trying to get out of the park. No, we were like the most we were stuck was probably yesterday, and that was probably like 10 minutes. It was quite a very easy like get in and get out kind of stadium. And there's still a lot of stuff to do around the stadium if you wanted to. But most of these games were the prime time game, and by the time we got out, the stadium was already 11 o'clock basically. So it was kind of just like, let's get into the rental we have and go back to the Airbnb and chill for a bit.
Oh, well, Texas is interesting. I've only been to Dallas in terms of my travel to Texas, and yeah, the weather is it's different. We're spoiled out here in LA in every way with weather, but definitely I want to check that out if I can, because I do have a bucket list to get to certain ballparks and different stadiums around the country. But one of the people, or two of the people that you were looking forward to seeing pitch were, of course, Tarik Skubal and Paul Skenes. And I want to just get your take on them because obviously it's a treat to be able to see them, pitch, and obviously to pitch in competitive baseball. So give me your, I mean, we'll start with Tarik Skubal. Because I just definitely want to get your take on him. And then kind of what followed that, we did learn that he is not going to be returning. There was a little bit of waffling back and forth. Is he going to, continue his pitching journey with Team USA? And the answer is officially no. So your thoughts?
Yeah, the first time I ever got to see Skubal live, and he was awesome. Most of these guys got ambushed pretty early. Logan Webb got ambushed in that first inning by Manny's kid, and Tarik Skubal, I forgot who ended up taking him deep, got ambushed. Or I think the very first pitch he threw in the WBC, he got ambushed. So other than that, that was like their one blemish, and they were very, very solid. Skubal's very commanding of the mound. He kind of is like no nonsense. Doesn't fall too far behind. I'm pretty sure there was an error as well too. Didn't mess up his psyche. Just went up there and kind of punched out the next guy. I'm like, damn, this guy is legit. And the rest of the game, there was just never doubt they were gonna beat Great Britain just because the rest of the guys on Great Britain, apart from Trace Thompson, who we'll get to right now, because he's kind of public enemy number one in my books for what he did to Will Smith. All in love though, but other than that, I really never thought like the U.S. was gonna lose that game because I just looked at the talent they had and the talent Great Britain has, and I'm like, this is gonna be a pretty easy night for them. And I want to give some love to a young guy who's actually kind of like I'm going to be following his journey now because I came back impressed was Roman Anthony. I know he came up
he's good
last season, but he kind of like I was like, okay, like he's starting and this like I want to say like the Avengers, but they are the Avengers, the lineup they have, and I'm like, all right, let's see what he has. And I came back like, damn, this guy's like he's really, really good. And I'm like, I'm going to be following his journey the rest of the season and kind of see how he does. And the duo of them too, Duran and Anthony and the Red Sox outfield is kind of like, wow, they got these two young guys out there and to see if they are able to like put the pieces together to potentially win something. But other than that, like Skubal was awesome. We'll get to Paul Skenes later on, but it
Mhm.
sucks that he's kind of like, I don't want to do it again. He probably had second thoughts after he was in the environment pitching and he saw like all the atmosphere and all the fans kind of like cheering him on, and he probably was thinking there and like damn, like maybe I should actually like stay. And like considering what's happening now too as well, they're getting beat by Italy, so we don't know
Right.
exactly if they want to keep that same game plan. I think McLean was going to be pitching the, if potentially if they reached the championship game. But I don't know. If I was him, I'd probably rethink that decision. I don't think he's gonna rethink it. But
Mm.
if you're having second thoughts of going back to camp, you might as well just stay here. You're only gonna get one more start anyway, so might as well just do it here for your country.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing. I mean, we kind of had a feeling it might kind of go in that direction even before you left for the WBC, but he is such a necessary pitcher, especially when they're about to get into the super competitive rounds, provided that everything goes forward the way we think it will. And you're going to need him. You're going to need Skenes. You're going to need, the best pitchers because it's a team sport, and it's going to get, when you're seeing the DR, you're seeing Japan, you're seeing these teams that they are putting it all out there. So I definitely was kind of disappointed when that became official that he wasn't going to be pitching again. But yeah, talk to me about Paul Skenes, because he is a player that you've often talked about. Big fan of his. Wouldn't mind seeing him in Dodger blue one day. So, what was it like watching him pitch? Because he was on fire.
He was electric. There was just nothing Mexico could do. He made a lot of those guys unfortunately look foolish, but this was always one of going to be one of those guys where I was like, I want to see one of his games live because I feel like his stuff is going to be nastier in person than it is on TV, and it very much was nastier in person than it was in TV. Unfortunately, it's only 4 innings, but I kind of would have loved to see him go the full game. I know competition rules dictate that he can only go a certain amount of pitches and stuff like that. So
Mm,
I'm looking forward to the time he comes down to LA and like potentially starts a game here because I feel like he'll might go the distance and stuff like that. But the stuff is nasty. The way he tunnels his pitches as well too, nasty. The way he commands himself on the mound as well too. He's kind of a big guy and he doesn't like let down like that feeling. Like he doesn't give him a feeling that he gets intimidated by the moment. And it kind of showed me like, oh wow, like if you give him the ball in a potential playoff series, he's gonna probably do the same thing. I would love to see him play in the postseason. I don't know if he's ever going to do that with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I know the Pirates are projected to kind of make the playoffs, maybe sneak in there as a wild card, but I kind of have to see it first to believe it.
mhm.
That's kind of where I am with them. And I actually feel bad for him because he's looking around like at these guys like Bobby Witt made some incredible web gem plays at shortstop that game yesterday. And you see the reaction not Scooble, Skeens is giving to him, like kind of smiling
Yeah,
at him. And then he probably realizes in the back of the head, like when he pitches for the Pirates, like he's not going to get that defensive
yeah,
coverage behind him. And for a lot of these guys, they're probably like blasting in the glory of basically playing in an all-star team and a superstar team, the Avengers, basically.
right.
I'd be interested to see who he pitches against in the next round. I think
Mhm,
right now he's kind of lined up for a potential semifinal round, but
mm,
who knows? We'll see how far the U.S. gets. But
right.
overall, yeah, I just felt like from on the Mexico side of things, I felt like I don't know if I agree with the decision of going bullpen game that day. I probably would
Mm,
have used Taiwan Walker that game against the U.S. Probably go bullpen game against Brazil, considering you mercy
mhm,
ruled him. So I
mhm.
don't know. That's kind of just more revisionist history now because the games have played out and you can't go back in the past and fix all sorts of things. But that's kind of the only thing I had. One bad inning for them kind of ruined the whole game for them. They gave up 5 runs in I believe the third inning, if I'm mistaken.
Mhm.
Uh, Kind of lost the game there, but it also took a lot uh, for them not to score runs, whether it was the play at the plate, not the play at the plate, the play at third base where they get thrown out, the two defensive like web gems that Bobby Witt makes, just a bunch of little like key things where like it decides the game here and there. Uh, I hate to like kind of go back to the conversation we had with Coach Benji Hill, where he said like I bet you if Kirk is up there in a big spot, he'll come through this time around, and it felt like I was getting a deja vu moment of the World Series. Basically, I'm like, I had that text in the group chat where like, I've seen this Kirk at bat before. It happened in October, basically, or not even October,
It was
November, because that game
November
happened
1st.
over a year. Yeah,
Same, same.
yeah. No, the first thing I thought of when I was sitting in that moment, I'm like, oh, here's the at bat that he's talking about. Like when Kirk comes up in a big situation, he's
Here
gonna
it
come
is.
through, and not necessarily thinking like he's gonna hit a home run or anything. Like maybe he's just gonna get a hit, and like it puts the pressure on because now you got a runner on second or in scoring position. It puts more pressure on the pitcher at that point. I forget who was pitching at the time. Yeah, I think it was Boyd still, but and then it happens and hits into that double play. I'm like, damn, that was probably our best last shot there. But overall, I can't complain. I think it's going to come down to tomorrow's game, so I'm be invested in Mexico versus Italy, and I think a lot of U.S. fans are going to be invested in that too because they probably didn't think that Italy was going to put up a fight. So I don't know if it's going to come down to run differential and all that. Don't know the rules, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
I made the mistake of looking right now. I'm looking to my right. I'm trying not to. It is 6-0. It is the top of the sixth. Um, the Team USA is not really getting it done against Italy, but that's what Benjiel was saying when he was on our show. Baseball, you just don't know. You can think like you're on paper that this team's probably going to win. Baseball doesn't work that way. You simply don't know who's going to come out on top. But yeah, I was I was so impressed with Jaron Duran. I know that he's not our Dodger, in Dodger blue, but I kind of couldn't help it. And I know you probably felt the same way. Just imagine how cool it would have been to have a man like him. Just, I think he would have fit right in. And I would have loved to have seen his electricity. So kind of rooting for Team Mexico. I love Team USA, but I found myself kind of during yesterday's game, like, oh, I feel like I'm more on the Team Mexico side because I really just got so attached to when Benji was on our show and just how this would really be huge for the country. And you must have felt that electricity in the stadium. I mean, from my perspective, watching all the stuff on social media, it looked like it was heavily in favor of Mexico during yesterday's game. In the
If I had to guess like a split, I think it was like maybe 75-25. There was a lot of green there yesterday,
yeah,
especially when D-Row came out and like either bought time or like Cal Raleigh brought up bought time and went to the mound to visit their respective pitchers. The boos in there were deafening. And like I was kind of sitting there and like trying to picture like what it was like there in 2017. And I
mhm,
could see how like a crowd can influence a game because it gets pretty loud in there. And that's not even in talking about like the train and like the pyro they have going in there.
mhm.
The multiple times I had my Apple Watch, I got that notification that tells you like, hey, you've been very in a very loud arena or a large area. Like you have to get out from there and stuff like that. I got that like so many times I can't even think of it. Easily, probably the best atmosphere I've ever been to, baseball wise. Been to playoff games again. Haven't been to a World Series game, so maybe it changes down the line. But
Yeah.
it wasn't even hostile. It was just like because normal typically when you think like two big like rival nations, you think hostile. Maybe the Dominican versus Venezuela might be hostile in a few days from now. But for this one, it kind of felt like, yeah, everyone is rooting for their respective nations, but it never got like to the point where like I felt like, oh, like we might have to like dip early or stuff like that. But no, it was just like a lot of passion on both sides. It helps that the game was played in Houston. I think
Mhm.
if the game was played here in Los Angeles as well too, you capture that same passion. The
Yeah.
same in San Diego, maybe the same up in San Francisco as well too. I'm looking forward to potentially, hopefully, WBC games in 3 years' time being played over here in our side of the coast. I know they were played in Arizona 3 years ago, but I would love if like San Diego or us, not Anaheim, or San Francisco hosted some games. Especially because I feel like it's one of those environments that you just have to experience once, just to like understand what it means to people and stuff like that. And you see some of the players, like Kiké said it himself, like he's played in 5 World Series, and this is easily like the most important thing for him. And you see it in like players who are playing for their other respective countries, like that. Is he an electrician or a plumber? The Czech Republic guy. Yeah, and like it's the
Yeah.
last time he's
Yeah.
ever gonna pitch in a game, and he's kind
Yeah.
of taking in the moment in the Tokyo Dome, and like you see guys on Australia beat up because they didn't get a chance to qualify to the next round, and it's like I hate when people try to diminish it and say like, oh, it's just like a pre. No, like go to a game and
Yeah.
you'll see what people mean. Like there's a lot of people who are like, this is it basically because they know their respective MLB teams do not have a realistic chance at winning the championship.
So true.
Whether that's like whether it's because of bad ownership or they just know we don't have the team to compete against X team, whatever division we play for. A guy like who roots for the Colorado Rockies knows like we have zero chance because of the 4 teams in front of us, basically. So this might be the only chance I have to like root for one of my guys or root for my country to win something. And I hate when people try to diminish the fact that people are having fun rooting for their respective countries, whether it's the United States, whether it's Puerto Rico, whether it's Mexico, who cares, whatever. why do you always have to find a way to diminish someone's fun? If someone's having fun in the preseason, like why are we like trying to find a way like, oh, you do realize that that's not a real important trophy. Like it's important for a lot of people because they're representing their country and where they're from. So I hate when I see that argument like, oh, like you shouldn't really be taking this tournament as seriously because we play for this. Like, no, 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 no. This is a very important tournament for a lot of people. It's a very important tournament for me because I really want to win this trophy. It kind of gives me bragging rights for the foreseeable future, and it kind of puts a spotlight on your country. Like, hey, like they really play baseball here. Like, hey, they're very, very good. Like, hey, they have a bunch of major league talent as well too. Considering most of the talent on a lot of these teams are very young, but they also have a lot of veteran guys who are like, this might be the best shot I have at winning anything. So they're gonna go as hard as they can in the regular season or during this tournament.
Oh, and they should. That's kind of what I was going to kind of lead to next. But yeah, kind of just to piggyback on something you said, I am low key kind of jealous of you because you have been doing a lot of travel in this last year. You've been seeing just different games outside of Dodger Stadium, and that's kind of one of my things that I really want to start to plan into my life in the very near future. But it's probably just been amazing to see just kind of how big baseball is, not just here in LA, everywhere. And yeah, I just kind of, oh, by the way, it's 8-0 right now on the game.
Oh,
Probably already see it. Yeah, so that's that. But one thing that I heard this morning on Rich Eisen kind of was something similar to what you were saying right now. He said that the topic of you're seeing how like the Latin American teams or the Latin teams, you're seeing the Asian teams and this incredible enthusiasm, like when they're running, around the bases after a home run, the dancing, the celebrating, the instruments in the dugout, just this incredible passion that's in the stands with the fans that you're seeing versus, and I'm not trying to knock Team USA at all, though it kind of makes me think you're not seeing that same overwhelming passion. I found articles about this. There's been talking points about why is it, and I don't want to ever accuse the Team USA of not caring because I know that they care about this and this matters to them. But I think what I heard this morning, and I thought this kind of fits on what I'm thinking. Rich Eisen said that fans want to feel that it means as much to them being the players as it means to us. And because you and I, we're not just podcasters, we're like huge fans of baseball, huge fans of the Dodgers. It is something that we spend so much time talking about, so much of our lives investing in, and money that we invest in it. And I think just seeing that enthusiasm from the teams around, the WBC that are just, they're in tears. Like you see the passion and you're not really seeing that exact passion in terms of, the overt expression and emotion from Team USA. I just wanted to get your thoughts on kind of why you think that is, because I don't think it's as simple as a black and white reason.
yeah, I don't think it's simple as that because the game I saw, I think it was Great Britain. Yeah, a guy like Gunnar Henderson was playing out there like it really meant something to him, and like he was showing all sorts of kind of emotion. And again, a lot of those guys probably aren't like the emotional guys on their teams. I look at a Will Smith who's very calm, quiet, collective. I wouldn't expect him, but in big moments, when he's had those big moments, that's when you see him like let out that emotion. But in this tournament, apart from that Great Britain game and tonight, he hasn't really had a chance to kind of play. So a lot of the other guys have been taking that mantle. And I look at a Schwarber, he kind of gets the moment. Again, he hit another massive home run. Every time I feel like there's a major tournament or a playoff game, I feel like if Schwarber's up, he's just going to hit one like 450 to the moon. He shows all sorts of emotion, but a lot of the guys on Team USA are kind of very stoic. I think the guys who would probably show more emotion would be like a lot of the young guys, but they're still very like young and tentative into their careers. They probably don't know like, should I not? I look at a guy like maybe a Roman Anthony. I just came back so impressed from like his performance. Like he hasn't even played a full season in Major League Baseball, but he looked like a 12-year vet out there and like a team full of superstars and all-stars and potential Hall of Famers as well too. So I don't know if it's just like a cultural thing. I looked at the DR, and the DR are having are basically having a party throughout like the entire 9 innings, and it looks like so much fun to watch them play. The same can be said for Venezuela. They're kind of their pregame little rituals and stuff like that. It's a bad thing if like the most energy you can get from, and this is not even a shot at him, but the strength coach from the Dodgers, that pregame video that kind of went viral, I think when they were still doing exhibition games against some of the major league teams. If he's the source of your like, come on guys, let's get up, let's get pumped up, that's a problem, and that's not a shot at him. It shouldn't be his job to get the guys pumped up, but that's something that he does because we see it all the time. He does it for the Dodger guys, but I don't know. I think it's just gonna be there's just a lot of guys who have zero personality when it comes to like outside of baseball. A lot of the guys on different teams have personality, and you see it, and they'll display it from time to time in the major league season. But again, the threat of being like, "Oh, you're doing too much," kind of like scares them away.
Mhm.
Again, I don't think you can do all that celebrating 162 games out the year just because like you'll probably just burn out halfway through. It's a long season, and you do tend to play games back to back to back. And if you win a game, you can't stay too high up because you still have to probably face a very good pitcher the next day. And vice versa. If you lose a game, you can't stay down forever because you have a game immediately after in like 12 hours. So you kind of just have to stay focused and stay locked in. But in the playoffs, that's when you see it. And that's what I
Yeah.
love about the playoffs because it's a shorter, it's a sprint essentially. And that's when you start seeing the emotion from guys in the clubhouse and in the dugout. They kind of like, especially when they're on the road and like a big hit happens and like the stadium goes silent and like all the noise is coming just from the respective dugout. That's like, okay, we're do or die now. We're at war now. We're trying to win this World Series. And that's when you show the emotion. The great thing about the Miguel Rojas home run,
Mhm.
look at the dugout for us. Everyone is out there on the field. Basically, they can't go as far as going out to the home plate because they're still locked in and trying to win the game. But they're out there on the front step, kind of giving the biggest hugs, celebrating, and now they refocus like we have a shot at winning this game. And
Yes.
then when Will Smith hits the home run, same thing happens. Like half the dugout's out there kind of greeting him. The other half is like, oh wow, we really have a chance to win this game. And they still have to stay focused and stay locked in. And then the final emotion kind of lets out when they turn that double play and they become two-time champions. So it's kind of hard to do it throughout the whole length of the season, but you have to pick your moments, kind of be like overexcited and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love it. I love the excitement of competitive baseball, and I feel like this is just game after game after game. It's competitive. But yeah, before we kind of transition into more of the Dodger focus and the Cactus League play, because we're kind of doing pretty good in that right now. Well, who are your final predictions for getting into the playoffs, and do you think Team Mexico will make it in as far as the WBC quarterfinals?
Yeah, but so now it's interesting because the U.S. is losing 7-0, and I don't know if that's an
Eight
insurmountable.
nothing.
Yeah, okay, 8-0. So I don't know if that's an insurmountable lead. I don't know how much that eats up into their run differential and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's gonna be it's if here's the thing if Italy wins and if Mexico wins, let's say they win like 1-0, and Italy has a better run differential than the US and the US fails to get out of the group stage. What does
Mm,
that say about US baseball basically? That you did all
yes.
this winning and you couldn't even get out the group stage. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll be locked into my TV tomorrow. I'm excited. May the better team win. If it's Italy, I'll take my hat off to them. I'll tip my hat. But I think the U.S. Made a mistake by taking this game very lightly. I think
You
you
think?
had a
Yeah.
chance to go perfect. And this is what happens when you don't take an opponent seriously, because we say this with the Dodgers all the time. How many times have we seen them go into a stadium where like,
There you
oh,
go.
they're playing a team below 500. This should
And
be an easy sweep. We're going into Anaheim. They don't even have Mike Trout, none of this. And what ends up happening? You get swept or you get embarrassed the whole time. So I don't know if they took this team, Italy,
mm,
lightly. I hope not, because if you end up missing the knockout round, that's a very big bad look on U.S. baseball. And a lot of those players are going to be getting a lot of bad looks from their respective organizations, not for us, because I can never say anything bad about Will Smith or Clayton Kershaw. But for those other
never.
guys, um, they're going to go back to their respective clubhouses and stuff like that. They're going to look at you like you really went out there, you did all that, and you couldn't even get into the knockout round. So we'll see what happens. May the better team win. If it's Team Italy, I'll tip my hat. If it's Team Mexico, I'll be ecstatic.
Oh, yeah. Italy has coffee power going on in their dugout, so who knows what
Yeah, the espresso machine is insane, by the way. I can't imagine like taking an
hilarious.
espresso machine. I forget which player took like the very first one, and the espresso shot was still very warm, and said he almost threw up because all the adrenaline going, and you have an espresso shot right after. But I love it. I love like all these little like celebrations teams have and stuff like that. I love the DR's like jacket they got, and then like they take like one big group selfie. I love Team Mexico's, whether it's a sombrero or the wrestling mask. I love that these teams kind of have their own little like things and stuff kind of going for them. So yeah, it's been a fun watch. I'm very excited to see like how future generations and future WBCs go. But it's been fun. But I did miss a lot of Dodger baseball. It's very hard to like
It's so hard.
focus on spring training games when I know there's nothing to play for. It's just basically practice, and there's like guys going crazy hard for their respective countries. But I did watch a little bit of Dodger baseball.
I was trying to peek in on it. I was trying my best to keep up because I've been watching the WBC. But yeah, I'll kind of give you some little brief overview of what you missed while you were gone. We are currently 12-6 in Cactus League play, which is great, even though it absolutely means nothing in terms of anything. But it's cool to see a lot of the prospects. But in the last couple days, 12 more players have either been optioned or reassigned, including players like Ryan Ward. You have pitchers Jackson Ferris. You had your Josue De Paula and Kendall George are back at minor league camp, but we did get to see like really cool, outings from them. Really kind of see what they're all about, and they got their taste of playing in spring training. Very cool. My surprise one was like I thought they would keep Ryan Ward just a little bit longer, but he's back, going to be heading over to AAA. I thought he was going to get a little bit of a longer leash, or they were considering him more. So I don't know if you're surprised by any of what you've heard as far as our spring training news and updates.
Not really. I knew a few of these guys, especially Ryan Ward, when he kind of started his spring very, very bad offensively. I kind of felt like, okay, you kind of had a chance to like prove that you had to be up here and like you deserve a chance to make this roster, and then you get the golden ticket basically, and you like tear it apart. So there's no surprises there, and most of these guys were going to be minor leaguers. The one Zaire Hope wasn't reassigned right yet.
No, he's still
No,
there.
so that's kind of like the one like, oh, he's probably performed well enough to kind of stay up with the big team a little bit longer, even though we do real acknowledge the fact that he will be starting in the minor leagues. But he's kind of been the only guy that come back from like impressed apart from like our pitching staff. So we'll see with the rest of these guys. But overall, I felt like spring training, it's kind of hard to like nitpick and complain about anything because they're going out there and winning a lot of games. So and a lot of our regular guys are performing well too. I'm giving some shout out to like Teoscar Hernandez has been hitting the ball well. Andy Pajes has been hitting the ball well as well too. So overall, it's hard to like complain about anything because there's been like little hiccups here and there. I don't know if the last time we talked, Rookie had that bad start, but then he had a good start today in the minor leagues, in the backfields as well. So overall, it's really hard to nitpick. I know Blake Trinan kind of gave it up, I think maybe 2 days ago.
Couple days ago, he was like the Blake Trinan that scares the shit out of us, and then today he was good. He was good too.
So it's gonna be one of those like spring trainings where like one day he'll be bad and one day he's like, oh, there it is, he's very good. So overall, you kind of just want to live with the result, not with the results, but like overall, how was he doing? Like, did he have a lot of hidden swing and miss, or like was he hitting his locations, or like his mechanics are off, stuff like that? And it looked, thankfully for Roki, it looked like it was a mechanical issue that ended up getting fixed. He looked very solid today, Ali. So that's the report is from the backfields that he looked very, very solid. So again, it's hard to complain with a lot of these guys. They're kind of just trying to work out the kinks for the regular season.
No, he was good on the 4 innings pitch. It was against, I guess, the White Sox minor league team. So he had a leadoff hit, but then I guess he went on to strike out the next 7 batters, which is fantastic. So all good news on that. One other good piece of news that I just kind of recalled, Tanner Scott. We're a little worried about him last year, but having the hope that he would have a nice resurgence, starting the fresh clean slate. And he has been looking really good over the course of spring training. Just going into today, he had 5 strikeouts, 5 Ks, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, only 1 walk, and he looks like he could be a candidate for our player in terms of the Dodgers for a comeback season. So all positive on that end. And some other great news for Snell. He did get a chance to be on the mound today and kind of like throw to a standing catcher. So we might not see him right away, but these are good things for in terms of like, injured players or players that, we are kind of planning to slow play just to make sure that they're ready. One not so great piece of news you probably heard is the Hyesung Kim. I guess he's over at the WBC, and I guess he was sliding in or stealing a base and he injured his left hand. We don't know too much about that right now in terms of kind of where that's going to go. But there is a demon back here in spring training named Santiago Espinal that we had started talking about last week.
I've heard this name floating around social media. Even though I was gone, I saw the name Santiago Espinal everywhere I was going on Twitter.
How did this become the new Andrew Friedman special? I mean, this man is not just utility man. He's like a super utility man. He practically plays every position. How lucky did we get with him? And hopefully we can continue this into the season, right?
Very, very lucky considering that second base is kind of open for grabs at the moment.
Mhm.
I don't want to give Kim a bad rep because he's actually killing it in the WBC. If people have been watching, I know those games have been early, but he's over
Yeah.
there raking. So hopefully the injury is kind of just minor and precautionary.
Hmm.
But I like the options we have at second base going forward, whether it's Espinal, whether it's Kim, whether it's Edmund when he comes back and he's healthy and he's kind of only limited to the infield. I really think we found another diamond in the gem. I'm excited to see him play more now that I'm back home and not kind of like back in the WBC maze and stuff like that. I feel like he's going to be a very solid contributor for this team, and that's all we really ask for. He's essentially going to be probably hitting in the 7 through 8, 9 spots, and all we really ask for guys in those spots is kind of like either do your job, which is get on pace, because we know what's going to be behind you if you're hitting number 9,
Hmm.
or at worst, just do your job, whether it's defensively that day or whether it's just offensively. But again, Andrew Friedman, we used to joke around, me and my cousins, all the time during free agency. We was like, "Oh, here's the Dodgers, another reclamation project. They'll sign like X player who's been like a career journeyman, and then they'll turn him into like an all-star for a season, and then some team will sign him thinking like, oh, that's the guy they're gonna get, and like they revert back to original form basically. So I'm excited to see what he can do the rest of the spring. He's very much deserved a opening day roster spot.
Yeah.
So we'll see how else he can contribute going forward. It also kind of helps give some days off for like a Miggy Rose, so you don't like burn him out going
Oh,
forward and stuff like that. So we'll see. I'm excited to see how he develops. Trust me, even though I was away, the name that I was seeing mostly tweeted out by a lot of Dodger fans and like through on Instagram and stuff like that was Santiago Espinal. So I'm excited to see how what he does going forward.
perfect fit. Every time I watch him, I'm like, oh yeah, it's the opposite of the Michael Conforto experience so far, and we're loving it. So I'm very excited to see what becomes of him. But opening day roster, I think Roberts called it all but like certain that that's like he can't see a world where that doesn't happen. Other good news, Kiké, he was actually with Team Puerto Rico for a while. Right. And then he was celebrating and kind of, supporting the team, but he came back to Arizona. You were right? The day after our last show, he did, and his wife Mariana announced that Santiago was born, his son. So it was very adorable. And he's expected back late May, which isn't actually that long into the season. So he announced that that's kind of the timeline for him to return for onto our team. So all good news there. One thing that a couple days ago that I'd love to see, we all obviously we love Robleski. He is kind of flexing 6 pitches, and he did that this past weekend. Really, sharp, painting the edges. He's just on. He seemed like he has great command, not walking a lot of guys. And I'm thinking, kind of like as we get ready to see Snell later on down the line. I mean, in your mind, is he going to be like kind of the almost the lock for the rotation?
I think so. I feel like with a lot of our young guys, I know Emmett Sheehan pitched yesterday as well, or was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. I feel like a lot of our young guys, the experience they gained in the playoffs and
Oh
just the
yeah,
regular season played a lot of wonders into their spring trainings because now they have the confidence of like, I belong at that major league level. And Robleski was kind of one of those like guys that was kind of back and forth, back and forth. He'll be up one day and he kind of give you like a bullpen start, basically like, okay, he's going to be our opener and like, let's see how far he can go. And now he's kind of like solidified himself this spring as like, no, he's kind of deserving of a roster spot and like a opening day start or not start, opening day roster spot. And like, let's see how far he can give us in the rotation and stuff like that. Another guy that I want to give him his flowers, even though I think he still deserves, or I think he's still going to start in AAA, is River Ryan. River Ryan's looked awesome. The velocity's back and stuff like that. The only reason I want him to start in the minors is kind of just to give him some more reps, kind of more game time. He's been down and out for like over a year now, so just the more like reps and stuff like that, and kind of slow playing. We said in previous versions of the pod where give
mhm,
him kind of the Emmett Sheehan game plan, like at least just to start his journey back. Like, okay, like we're gonna start you in the minor leagues, but we know you really do belong up here. But we kind of want to get you those reps, like those pitches you need to kind of get back into a game flow, uh,
mhm.
build you up to see how far you can go, whether it's 5 innings, 6 innings, stuff like that, and then we'll make a decision and stuff like that going forward. But Robleski the same way. He was kind of like, okay, you'll be an opener. Okay, you're a bullpen guy. Okay, wow, you can really actually like be a part of this rotation going forward, and especially with guys like Blake Snell. I know he's back on his way back, but you don't really have that like lefty guy that you
Mhm.
need, and he kind of would fit in right away. And I know I'm not saying he's replacing a Blake Snell, but at least kind of gives you a few weeks of leave-ins and stuff like that. Well, Blake Snell kind of builds himself up into like pitching and stuff like that. So
Right.
I'm excited for these young guys because it's an opportunity to prove themselves, even though they did last year. But it gives them a solid more uh, case of like, well, he pitched. I don't know. I'll make an example. He pitched 4 games and he was lights out for those 4 games. Do we really send them back? Stuff like that. Some hard decisions are going to be made
For sure.
throughout the course of the year. But again, this is the Dodgers. How many times have we talked about like, damn, we have the greatest starting pitching ever, and then you get a message saying like, oh, someone has back tightness and they're going to be out 2-3 weeks, and now you're like, okay, now we have to rely on our depth, stuff like that. So opportunities are going to arise for a lot of these young guys. They just got to be patient.
Yeah, no, Glassnell will get a cramp. Something will happen and he'll have to, step away for a little bit, but I'm not worried at all about it. I know that there is a plan and there's the depth. And one of the other depth pieces, and he is fantastic. I love him. I know he had a shaky second half of the season as far as his pitching last year, but he started off really strong as Ben Casparius. I know he probably was just overused and things just got a little bit, off towards the end of the season. But so far in spring training, he has, even though he has more pitches, he's been solely focusing on his sweeper, his cutter, and his fastball. And it kind of tells us a little hint into possibly how they might use him, because although he can be in fact a starting pitcher, if he was to kind of get his, mechanics in place, he's really very good for kind of like long relief. And I think that that would be something that perhaps they're looking at him for that kind of role. Does that sound kind of like more of where he might be going into in terms of the opening of the season?
Yeah, it's in a nutshell. I just feel like going forward, it's just guys are going to have to be patient with their opportunities.
Yeah.
I know there was that. I think it was an article where like Dalton Rushing kind of was sat down by Will Smith last season and was like, or early on in the spring, and be like, look, you're just gonna have to be patient. And it sucks because a lot of these guys are deserving and probably should be playing on other major league teams, and they probably be starting or be the number one guy in some other rotation. But
Right.
just the level of talent and stuff that is being brought onto the Dodgers, it's going to be hard. And it's like we said it in the spring training, iron sharpens iron. It's
Yeah.
unfortunately, if you're not good enough to beat out the guy in front of you, you're going to have to sit down and kind of just embrace being the backup guy until then.
Yeah.
And opportunities arise. And this is not just a Dodgers only issue. There's other teams and stuff like there's guys that probably look up at a guy in front of them and be like, I'm better than this guy. Why is that guy getting the opportunities? But that guy makes 10 million a year and you only make, I don't know, a million. They're going to play that guy because he's making 10 million a year. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's the business of baseball. Not even just baseball, just sports in general. Like there's guys in different leagues and stuff like that where they'll see a player that's way less awful than them, but they make 15 million a year, and unfortunately, that guy's going to play because he's making 15, and you're only making 2 million a year. So it could probably lead to a lot of frustrations with our young guys, but something that cures frustration is winning, and the Dodgers have done nothing but win the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, rings cure all. That's always the motto. So definitely think that they're just probably happy to even be associated, to be on a team that has so much Hall of Fame talent, so many All Stars, and so many people they can learn from. So definitely a blessing in that way. Not a lot of news around the league as we transition into that, because normally there's so many things happening, but because so many of the major league talent is actually the WBC, it's kind of very light right now in terms of that. But one pitcher that I enjoyed watching, not against us, but I thought he was amazing last year, is left-handed pitcher Jesus Luzardo. So we just learned that he had an extension with the Phillies, 135 million, not bad, 5 years. Young guy, super good arm. So he's going to make the Phillies that much more competitive. Would you agree?
Yeah, the Phillies are an interesting team because I feel like they always have a chance of winning the World Series. And then once we matched up with them, they actually were one of the best teams we've played in the run up until we met up against the Blue Jays. But they shot themselves in the foot so many times that they kind of gave the Dodgers the series towards the end. So I don't know how things will be going forward. I think a lot better maybe now that Nick Castellanos is in there. But let's say they get off to a cold start, you can't really blame him. He's not there no more. So what's that say about you guys as an organization, as a team, stuff like that? Bryce Harper, I saw him play the last couple days here in the WBC. He looks a little bit old. I can't tell if that's just like age is finally starting to catch up to him, or he's just playing around a bunch of young, like phenomenal talent that he's finally like kind of like towards the end of his career, and now he has to kind of assume that like mentorship role, and maybe like a young star comes into it. But for Luzardo, very good pitcher. Very good for him moving forward. Phillies always will be a threat, no matter what, even though the division themselves and there kind of beats themselves up, whether it's Atlanta and the Mets and stuff like that. But if the Phillies were to make the playoffs again and we were to match up with them, I would consider them a very big threat to kind of dethrone us and stuff like that. So other than
Mm.
that, around the league, apart from like the Randy and Cal Raleigh beef that kind of stirred up last night, it's been very quiet. But I think it's because it's like spring training. A lot of teams are kind of just focused on like what's our final roster going to be like? Are we short on this position and stuff like that? So I think once the season actually gets starting, that's when you start seeing like the in drama fighting between teams and stuff like that. You'll start seeing more slick quotes. But right now it's kind of like all roses in paradise, apart from like Mariners camp in like maybe 2 weeks.
I was going to ask you about that. That was hilarious. I mean, it's probably a nothing burger, but I really do like. I love Randy Arozarena, and sometimes I feel like, man, he's getting kind of rejected by everyone. Will Smith doesn't want to shake his hand. Kyle Raleigh doesn't want to shake his hand. There's probably, all the sports rivalry, on the field. It happens, and people are trying to make like a lot of it. But I know that you have family in Seattle. They are teammates. Kyle Raleigh said, "We're family. We're brothers." It was a total nothing burger. But what did you think of that hilarious like narrative in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. It really is a nothing burger. It like he didn't like. There's like a lot of crazy like discourse going on, and I'm not just gonna get involved in it. I thought like at the worst, like if you give them a dap up in the moment, I think it's fine. You don't necessarily go out of your way and like give them a hug and stuff like that. I know that clip of Shohei and Kim is going around. It kind of went a little bit viral as well too, but
Yeah.
that's different. That's kind of pregame, and like you see it all the time when you go to a game and you're there early enough. Like when both teams are starting to warm up, you'll see teammates from like the
Yeah.
Dodgers go up to and for example, I'll use I don't know the Phillies and like let's say a guy has played with a guy for so many years, they'll go up to them and kind of hug each other and like center field, have a quick little conversation here and there, like, hey, how's it going, stuff like that. Which you assume is happening because and some of those conversations are actually it's fun because you'll see the players like after actively like laughing and hugging and engaging and they're like, oh, they're actually like they're having a very solid conversation. And once the conversation's over, it's back to like, okay, like let's focus on winning the game. So in
Yeah.
the game, that's a different kind of like monster. It's weird. I don't know. I think he should have just dapped him up. If he didn't want to fully shake his hand, like a quick little like would have been
Mhm.
cool, would have sufficed. And then followed up with like, hey, good luck, and like actively back to the game. So I don't know. I feel like it's created unnecessary tension in Mariners camp. I feel like it's something where you look at it and it's like for me it's a nothing burger. I think for the Mariners it's a nothing burger, but now for both Randy and Cal, I bet you when they come back to Mariners camp, whenever they do come back, they're gonna probably get sit down with the GM, with the owner, and now you have to have a one-on-one meeting, and no one wants to have those one-on-one meetings because what's really gonna happen? You're just gonna end up shaking hands. You're gonna say sorry. Like, what was the whole point? I feel like it could have just been avoided if you just dap them up in the moment, like, hey, good luck, and that's it. But in spirit of competition, you shouldn't be. And Randy, I think he did that deliberately to see like, okay, like what's gonna happen here. I don't think he did it in the mindset of being like, oh, like it's Cal. He'll probably just like dap me up and like. I think he's kind of made it a bigger deal than it should be. For me, it's like okay, he didn't shake your hand. Like focus on the at bat and against Paul Skenes specifically, he kind of made a lot of Team Mexico look foolish yesterday. I feel like you have bigger issues at hand than like Cal Raleigh not like shaking up. And I can't remember if that was specifically the at bat. Randy took like this weird like he didn't even like step into the box and he took a strike and he fell down 0-1. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell is he doing? So, like where I'm sitting, like, what are you doing? Like, at first I thought like, oh, maybe he called timeout and like he didn't get timeout and like, oh, wow, you're down 0-1. But for me, I felt like I had high expectations for him this tournament, and he still has a chance to kind of redeem himself tomorrow's game. So I don't want to look like a moron when I say like, oh, he's sucked, and like tomorrow he has like 3 home runs or something like that.
Right.
But I feel like that superstar mantle that I was gonna try to find on the Team Mexico player, I think that's kind of been solidified in Jaron Duran going forward. And
100%.
Randy's kind of like, he's living off the glory that he had the past tournament, and he hasn't really done much this tournament apart from like that great like defensive play he had early on and pull play. But I don't know. I feel like it's just a nothing burger that's kind of like taking its life on its own on the internet now.
Yeah, it likely is, but I thought you'd have some really interesting thoughts on it because you've been out there, you've been around Team Mexico, you watch them a little bit closer because of your family and the Mariners Association. So it's just interesting. We do have some fun news though. You know how we've been wondering what the mystery bobblehead is going to be?
Yeah.
Is I guess a Yoshi on March 31st. It's a Yoshi bobblehead from, I guess, a Super Mario Galaxy movie. Very cool. You had Yoshinobu Yamamoto taking a picture with it and kind of it was posted on the Dodgers site. I'm not a big Super Mario's or gaming person, but what do you think about that as far as a mystery bobblehead reveal?
See, I am, but I'm not a big of a fan to kind of like probably sleep at Dodger Stadium overnight because I kind of feel like such a limited giveaway that people are gonna sleep overnight and like the line's gonna be crazy like 8 a.m. So I'm not gonna be one of those guys that's gonna be out there like at 6 a.m. freezing because like I'm here to get a Yoshi bobblehead. I would love to have it, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to go get it. I think it's a very cool promotion, kind of play up to the whole Yoshi thing. It's a very cool it's a unique giveaway, and this is what we complained about so often. Like we oftentimes haven't gotten unique giveaways, and this is a chance to get a unique one. I know the Star Wars one are unique as well too, but that's kind of a special ticket package, and this one's going to be given out to the first 30K that
Yeah.
go. So it's exciting. It's awesome. I feel like I hope this is like the start of more unique like giveaways or like have some more fun with the bobbleheads. Don't just give me like a generic like batting stance or like a thumbs up or like a salute or something. Like have some more fun with these giveaways.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like that it's different. I was hoping it would be something. I kind of still want my Pajes Kiké bobblehead somewhere, reveal somewhere down the line, because I was hoping they would do that. But yeah, I kind of like when I saw that reveal today. I think it's US now has 4 runs on the board for us keeping track. You probably saw our boy PCA.
Yeah.
Mr. Dodger fans are violent and want to be seen, made something happen. So it's getting interesting. You never really know. Still the 7th inning. But I wanted to kind of give a shout out to, we all know who Dino Ebal is. He's our third base coach, and his son Brady, who's now in the Minnesota Twins, actually had a chance to be a part of spring training in the last couple of days. So Brady Ebal was in the spring training game playing for the Brewers against the Dodgers. And obviously, we know Dino is over at the WBC as the third base coach over there. But that was just kind of like a really cool moment because even though he's not playing for the Dodgers, he's kind of part of Dodgers family in some ways. So that was really cool to see him playing on the field. And another cool piece of news that our producer Raj let us know, and I've already kind of hit follow, Will Ireton, Shohei's translator and longtime just kind of like he's his own utility man, does so much for the Dodgers, behind the scenes and helping make sure that everything is squared away with Shohei, with Yoshi in terms of translating and just a million other jobs. He's now on Instagram. So definitely give him a follow. So that is really, really cool. But yeah, that brings us kind of to the end of the show. Do you have any final thoughts? It was a awesome show getting to know all your WBC news, but final thoughts before we wrap it up.
Final thoughts. Wow. You spend your whole time planning a vacation and then it finally gets here and it goes by so quick that you're like, wow, I can't believe it's over with. But probably my final thought, if you have a chance to go to the WBC, whether I think the next one might be in 3 years, which is in 2029, depending on the Olympics, they might push that back to 2030. If you get the opportunity to go one of these games, do it. It's not a regular season game. It's not a preseason game. It's a game of its own. It's like again, it's hard to describe the energy I felt inside the stadium last night when I was watching Team USA and Team Mexico. It was if I could like get mason jars and bottle up that energy, I could probably sell it because it's insane. The atmosphere, the environment, and this is just for USA Mexico. So I couldn't imagine what like a Dominican Republic versus Venezuela game would look like, or a Dominican Republic versus Puerto Rico game would look like, or Tokyo, or not Tokyo, Japan, because they play in Tokyo versus Korea. That environment was insane as well too. So if you do have the opportunity to go out to one of these games, trust me, do it. If you have the chance to travel out to one of them, do it as well too, because it's a very awesome experience.
Yeah, and I love your hat. I know you got me.
Yeah, they're probably gonna think I'm a jinx because I wore it and the Team USA is losing, but they look dominant when I was there, so I don't know what's happening right now. So
You're
we'll see what ends up happening here.
No, I overall you have a winning record in terms of your attendance at games, and the teams you're going for tend to win. So yeah, I know that you got me my hat, so we'll have to cross paths at an upcoming game to get that to
Yeah.
me. But thank you for that. I was so excited to see all of your updates while you were there. So I'm so happy you had a great time. But yeah, we just want to also wish a congratulations to Kyle Tucker and his wife Samantha on the birth of their son that was announced. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'll kind of shout out our new Bleed Los podcast in Espanol with Adam Lopez. He's an amazing reporter, and he already has one interview out with such a cool dude, Luis Conchito Cruz, who's a Spanish language broadcaster for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So if you haven't checked out that interview, head over to the Bleed Los podcast network on YouTube and check it out because it is just filled with amazing content. As well, we always have Kohei in Japan covering the Dodgers over in Japan for all of us, and he produces his show weekly. So for all of all the languages we speak, we have you covered. Don't forget to check out Talking Blue with Cody and Vince this week. They go live and they give you all the updates. And yeah, if for all the rest of the Dodgers news in terms of print, go ahead and check out DodgersBeat.com. You've got Cody and you've got Steve Webb getting us articles every single day. Don't forget to check out the handles on the screen. You can find me, Drea, on X and Instagram at Ravine Queen 1958, and you can find Anthony on X and Instagram at Anthony Acosta _. And until next week, let's go Dodgers.